What makes you happy? Do you even know? How long has it been since you've even thought about what brings you joy? Let's talk about what makes us forget our happiness, how that affects us, and then some ways you can create happiness where it might be lacking right now. Welcome to Little Bits of Wellness. I'm Julie. How long? How long has it been since you did something just because you enjoy it? There are so many people suffering each day, and I want to help take some of that pain away. While I can't solve all of the problems in the world, or in your life, or in my life for that matter, I can hopefully help you find some happiness in your life. There was a time in my life when I was going through a really rough depression. It can sneak up on you. You're going through your day-to-day life, doing all the stuff that you always need to do, and then eventually you notice things aren't what they should be. Like the exhaustion sets in, and every task that you do takes so much effort. Like no one cared to talk to me anymore. My friends didn't call. Even my mom was too busy. Go figure, right? When your mom gets a better social life than you have. I felt so isolated. I had basically no social interaction. I was going to school full-time at home. The kids didn't even seem to care that I existed unless it was time to eat. Then I sank into some pretty dark thoughts as these feelings of isolation and depression built up, where I imagined myself having an accident on the way home. It'd just be nice and simple to not have to life anymore. No one would even care or notice that I was gone, until flies started building up in the kitchen because nobody's cleaning anything and the food runs out. And then it's like red flag moment. These are not healthy thoughts. You should not be wishing that an accident would happen to you so that you don't have to carry on in life anymore. And talking about this subject is really hard. I am the kind of person where it makes you feel weak to admit that you were going through these kind of emotions. My hope in sharing this is that you could see yourself in my story and it helps you pull through. Because when you realize that your life is not going the way you would like it to go, or that you don't have the happiness you once had, or maybe you've grown up in such a way that you've never really known happiness. This way you could recognize where you are emotionally and try to make adjustments so that you can have a happier life. This is what I mean by maybe you've forgotten what makes you happy. Because I did have a good childhood, or I found ways to be happy in spite of anything going on. I was happy as a teenager, for the most part. I mean, you're dealing with all sorts of stuff as you're coming of age. But I got so consumed by my day-to-day actions that I just kind of forgot to enjoy life. Some other reasons why you might have forgotten about your happiness is because you're focused on a relationship, you're focused on your career, you're focused on your family, making other people happy. Maybe someone told you that doing the things that make you happy is selfish. Now, there is a version of you doing only what you want to do all the time and never ever taking anyone else's feelings into consideration. That could be selfish. But if every time you try to do something that makes you happy, or your partner in life or your family never allows you to do what brings you joy, that's not being selfish. Making a change. That's the only way we can create happiness in our life, is if we change some stuff around. I know, change is scary. But bear with me. There is a way to do this, and you don't have to change everything overnight. You can just use some small actions in order to create a ripple effect and change things in a direction that you like better. There's a significant statement that has come up time and time again in my life when I realize it is going in a direction that I don't want it to. That statement is, "This is not my life." Yeah, you heard me. I say it out loud to the universe, this is not my life. And then I start looking at how I approach things. I start looking at what's expected of me, looking at what I do, and I start evaluating everything. Is this going in the direction that I want it to go? Am I creating the Julie that I want to be? Is my family dynamic supporting the life that I want? If the answer to any of those questions is no, then we've got to find a way to tweak it, change it up, cause a ripple, for some people, a huge splash, and get stuff to change. So when you've realized you need to make some changes, do some self-reflection. Now, this is a you alone activity. Unless you have someone in your life that you can run things by and not get judgment back from them, then just do it on your own. Because as much as others love us and want good things for us, they can't help but put their own opinion about different things on what you want to do. Start to consider what you used to enjoy. Like when you were a kid. I know, silly, right? But think back to when you were a little kid and you didn't care about anybody's opinion because you just didn't think about it. And then think about when you were a teenager. What did you like to do? So when I was a little child, I loved to run around in nature, and I would pretend I was a fairy or a cat or a horse, whatever. I had a really vivid imagination. And then as a teenager, I loved rollerblading. Then think about before you had children, if you do. If you don't, think about, if you do or you don't, think about before the day-to-day grind got in your way of what you like to do. What about before you had bills and other people's expectations and you loved to do and you loved to play tennis and you loved to fill in the blank. The point is to think back through some of the things that used to bring you joy, and then maybe there is an activity that you could do now that is a reflection of that, or you could just do the same activity. It's also good if you're observing others around you and they're participating in an activity that you've always found interesting. That would be a great place to start discovering whether you would enjoy that activity as well. This would be a great journaling exercise, or if you're worried about somebody seeing your journal, or you just don't want to keep the extra book and paper and pen and all of that jazz, you could make a note in your cell phone, and then as you see or experience different things that you enjoy or find interesting that you'd like to look into, you can make a note of that in your phone, so that as you're trying to think through stuff when you've got extra time, or when you maybe don't have extra time but you want to do something else anyways, you can look through your note or your journal to reflect on what you would like to do. And it doesn't always have to be some activity, right? It could be as simple as you're going through your daily tasks, driving the kids to school, cleaning the house, whatever you need to do in life, walking in the building to work, listen for the birds singing, chirping, and feel the joy that can come from that, the joy and the peace that can come from listening to nature. You could make a point to view the sunrise or the sunset, depending on your schedule, in order to just find those natural things that occur around you that fill you with joy. It also could be music. Sometimes a great escape, a great way to bring some joy, some pep in your step, get things going again, is just to listen to some music that you really love. If I am giving you some good tips and adding value to your life right now, please hit that like button. Thank you. When you are happy, a hormone in your brain is released. It's that feeling you get after a really good workout, for the people who enjoy going and working out. It's that feeling you get after a really good hug. It's also the feeling you get when you have your favorite food or dessert. We're talking about dopamine. Another effect of happiness on your body is grinning and smiling. That feeling of being light. You have more energy, your muscles relax, your digestion is improved, your blood pressure is lowered, and weight loss for those of you who like to stress eat, and the ability to enjoy your food for those of us who get anxious and can't eat. Your spirit. When you find your connection with your spiritual beliefs, you have a greater sense of hopefulness, because you have a more positive outlook on life, and that helps you believe that good times are going to come again. This also gives you a feeling of completedness within. So today we talked about some reasons you may have forgotten about your own happiness, ways that that affects your body, and some ways you can think through what will bring joy back into your life. I hope you do take some time to think through your needs and then just ease into bringing joy back into your life. Unless you're the kind of person that just likes to jump into the deep end, go ahead and make some changes, because you deserve to be happy. You deserve love. You deserve a good life. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. Bye. There are so many people suffering each day, and there's a cat using the litter box while I'm trying to record. We're talking about dopamine. Sorry, I can say the word. Things that maybe made you forget